very related to the topics of this lecture. Okay, it's a risk management, supply chain risk, logistic risk management. Okay, not exactly this chapter, but it's related to this course. So actually, it's a little bit related to. Yeah, actually, the issue is also related to this course. Let me share the one to you. It was quite new, so sorry. I hope we can go down that. Can we? Oh, good. High A news. Happy times. This is the one we are talking about. Yeah. In case some students not quite understand what we are talking about it. The Far Eastern Airline transporting company, they just closed yesterday. It's, oh my God, older than me, 62 years old airline, okay. And they just launched the Christmas sales 2 days ago, and now they closed what? We know that Christmas season will be the hot season for the airline company. And also, not only the Christmas, but also the New Year and the following the Lunar New Year. So most of the tickets were sold. And especially this airline is have many flights between the Taiwan and the China. Okay, so a lot of people depends on them, the company coming back to Taiwan for the holidays. And it's hard to understand why they made a decision at this moment. Because if they did one, I mean, people will ask the refund, right? And the government will help those people to make sure they have a refund. And they have a fine and a lot of punishment to them. But after this one, then the demand lower, that's a good time to close, right? But who knows? We will see what's going on. And nobody really have a signal for that. Yeah, but I don't know how many employees here. 1,000 employees means the 1,000 families. Okay, so there could be impact more than 4,000 or 3,000 people's life. And that's only for the employee. Don't forget, we are studying the supply chain. Okay, so the impact is not only those employees, but also the contractors. Okay, who supply goods to them, and that's a big issue. So I don't know, because they are, as they say here, they have 62 routes and 45 destinations. So I'm not sure the new company will take over the one or not, but they really create a blue oceans to the new company, especially the very just launched their new company. Let me see which one is the new company. I'm not sure if it's English name, so allow me to.
And the new airline will sell the ticket next week.
Just start to sell tickets this week. Just launched, right?
Yes.
So.
And their first line will start at January 23.
January.
Yes.
Okay. So have some story behind, right?
Finding
It's a good timing for them to open the market for them.
finding the big impact is the domestic.
This new company is a international airline.
Yes.
Okay. So
新宇。
星宇啊，哦，我的宇宙的宇。Start up. Yeah. Yeah, we are talking about two news. Just one is just happened last night. The Far Eastern airline company, the oldest airline company in Taiwan, 60 years old company, they just closed, shut down, without any pre-announcement. Okay, suddenly just close it, and people still trying to figure out what's going on. What's the real story behind? Because now we have a lot of stories in the internet, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, they say the owner committed suicide, but they don't know they are died or not. Not sure. Okay, and ironically, I mean, a few days ago, the Taiwan, after many years, that's the first new airline company will start to service. So it's difficult to understand what's going on. Okay. So the Minister of the Transportation, Communications, I think Mr. Lin is quite happy a few days ago, and now it's very sad. A lot of troubles there. Okay. Well, it just reflects the situation of the supply chain. You know, sometimes you have to. I mean, it's not only your company, but the other's problem will become your problem. Okay. The other happy maybe will. The other's good luck will maybe also the good news to you, but it's difficult. So, well, let's back to today's lecture. As I mentioned, it's also related to today's class because we have to think about should we have a single or a multiple sourcing risk management. Okay. As I mentioned, if you are operate a tourism business, okay, you want to make sure you always have a cheap and a stable air tickets, the seats, such that you can bring tours to the Japan, to the other countries, right? So you have to make sure that in the hot season or in the low seasons, you can reserve enough seats for your tour. Right, your group, but you don't know how many groups you will have, and of course you don't know how many seats will be available for you. So you will have a contract, long-term contract with the airline company, and the airline company also will like to have a contract with you. Okay, so say, okay, I want to sell 100 seats to your company, okay, at this very low price. So no matter do you have the group or not, you have to pay this amount, and it's quite cheap. Okay, cheap. Maybe it's only 30%. 30% of the ticket of the base ticket price, or maybe even lower, depends on the seasons. Okay, and for the airline, aircraft, airline company, because most of the cost is the gasoline cost and the labor costs. So no matter you have only one passenger or 4 passengers in the aircraft, they will still almost the same cost for the gasoline and the labor costs. So they calculate what numbers I have in my from a paper, but that maybe will be varies, depends on the company's operations management skills and also the gasoline price. But they say about if you have a 40% of seats, the ticket sale in the regular price, then they will cover your costs. Okay, so you can imagine if you have a 100 seats, for example, 100 seats, you sell 40 tickets, then the rest of the 60 is your net profit. So every seat, if it is 10,000 NT dollars, then 60 seats is how many you can count, and only for one price. Okay, so it's a capital gain. Okay, you can receive a lot of revenue in a very short time, but at the same time, you can lose a lot of opportunity, the revenue opportunities, if you see, or how come nobody reserved here. So it's kind of very competitive. So that's why they have to use the supply chain, to use the other ways, use the partner relationship, okay, with their downstreams to make sure they can reserve a lot of tickets for them. Okay. So as I mentioned, so imagine that you are a company, you are an airline company, or the other way around, you are tourism companies, okay, travel companies. You usually to have one groups, 100 groups to going out during the say Christmas seasons. Then you have to think about how to reserve, how to make a bargains with the airline company. So you can several ways to do, right? You can say, okay, I want to put all the groups as a package, such that I have a very strong bargaining power with only one single company, single airline company. Okay, for example, the price then. Say, okay, I know that you need a lot of passengers, but during the high season you have a lot of strong demand as well. But I can guarantee you a very stable, okay, and a huge amount of the demands, but I require is a lower price. And they can say, well, maybe yes or maybe not. But that's one way to do. We call it a single sourcing. But the other one way is to do is that we can say, well, I will deal with two companies. Maybe, for example, like this, the new one, okay, the Starlab, okay, and this kind of company. They say, okay, I want to split my groups into 50-50. Okay, and I deal with two companies. That maybe has some disadvantage and advantage. You can think about the disadvantage is, well, you have a smaller amount, so your bargaining power is less, right? And you have to deal with two companies at the same time, so the cost will be higher for the communication. Not only the price cannot be lower because you have less groups instead of high groups, right? But you also have two different channels you have to build up to maintain two relationships. Okay. But the advantage is, well, if the one company going wrong, okay, maybe they say, oh, okay, I guarantee you 50, but now I have so many demands there. So can you reduce to 30 groups? You say, okay. So in that case, you have to return money to me, blah, blah, blah. But you can switch to the other one. Okay, with these two groups to the other one could be. Okay. In case they have some instance like a strike, then you can go into the other one. Okay. So there you will reduce the risk as well. But in the other way, they will also increase the risk because you have too many sources there, too many companies there. I mean, you suffering the possibility the company going wrong. So it's very complicated to say which one is good, the single sourcing or the multiple sourcing. There's no clear answer to that. Okay, so that's why we want to study. Well, when we want to talk about the single sourcing and the multiple sourcing, how to evaluate the risk. Okay? It's not a very clear answer. Say, always say the multiple is better than single because you can reduce the risk. No, it's not that simple. Okay? Because even the single sources have a different risk have to be considered. And before that, I want to make sure that we understand what's a single and a solo. Okay. Solo sourcing means that you have only one source available, and then you have no choice. You have to deal with the company. Okay? If you don't want to do it, there's no other choice for you. Okay, that's solo. And when we talk about single, means that we have a choice. We have a choice from multiple companies, but we decide to make a business with only one of them. And the multiple, of course, is in some cases you have many choice, so you can decide, okay, not only doing all the business with one, but instead you want to split your orders. Okay, and you want to deal with different companies at the same time. That's called the multiple. Of course, in some cases, in some cases, the company maybe they don't have the other choice, so you can only deal with one. Okay, so we don't talk about the situation. Okay. That is exclusive. So we always talk about when you have choice and which type of the sources you want to choose and why, and how to consider the risk. In terms of risk, of course, they have many things to consider, but at this moment we just consider the risk. Right? So let's see you will hear, actually, if you go to Google, you will read a lot of recalls. Okay, people recalls their pushback. Toyota, many famous companies, they always do that. Even I think an iPhone, not the HTC, Samsung, right? They also not really recalled, but we know they have a very big bug for their cell phone. This kind of issues, so they were. But especially for the supply chains, you will see the company's products going wrong, maybe because of their source have some problems there, okay, and they don't know, they just use the materials, and then they have a different impacts. If all the materials suppliers only the solar is one, then all the products going wrong. Okay? But sometimes if you have a split from different sources, then even they found the bug for one product, then only impacts on a very limited, okay, and a group of products only. But the other range product will not affect. So you will just record part of it. Okay? But as I mentioned, the risk have a very different type of risk. Then if you have a different source to supply the materials, and you have to make sure everyone is correct, right? If only one, so that will increase in your inspection costs. You have to make double check everyone is correct. Okay? And if you have only one source, then it will be easier. You put all the efforts to check to make sure it's correct. So that's the balance about different risks. But this is several new, true news. And this is another one. Okay. The ZTEC, they also report they call it the cancer causing impurity in the drug. So they record all the product. So only one small, maybe I should say small, yeah, but one step, one component is going wrong from your supply chain sourcing, then your product have to be recalled, and they will cost a lot of money to you. So let's start to introduce the lectures. I gave you the lecture. So the general trade focus on the core competence, okay? The dependency of purchasing companies on the supplier's growth. So the people need to shift their value creation to the suppliers, okay? But they also have different issues to concern, okay? But how to maintain a good supply relationship? They have many different patterns, ideas about that one. Okay, people talk about the strategic supply relationship, or strategic partnership, or the strategic alliance. Why this is issued to the single or it's almost the same, okay? Because if you have built a very strong relationship with your suppliers, it means that you are moving from the multiple sourcing to the single sourcing. You understand? Okay. Well, so sometimes if you have many suppliers, you are multiple sourcings, but you want to make sure you have a strong control or quality control with them. Okay. Although you want to then be your good friend. So you want to make a lot of strategy to sign the contract, to do everything to it. So you are moving yourself from the multiple sourcing close to the single sourcing. And sometimes that's the problems coming up. Another risk, because you are stable, but you also suffer another type of risk as well. So the purchasing company are confronted with the new risk about risk of supply disruption. Okay. So as the case we mentioned this morning, if you are the supplier to the Far Eastern companies, airline companies, okay, you supply them all the mail, then for the passing 65 years, you are always happy, right? Because they will only buy the mail from your company. Okay? If you don't have to do anything, just supply their bread, then that will be good enough for you. Okay? At least you can have a very nice living without consider the others. Okay? But it still could be a big issue if suddenly it shut down, then you don't have the other channels to sales, then it will be a problem. So risks are often seen as a single sourcing. That's the one. So people always fear about being simple sourcing, because when you have a many choice selections, okay, many companies to select, then you will think, why I have to deal with only one of them? Why not to make business with the others as well? such that I can reduce my risk. Why? Because if I always sell, it's quite interesting because think about if you're doing the company with doing the business with one company, right? You buy the raw materials from them. The year one, at the beginning you can say, okay, how about I call all the companies into a meeting, okay? Then I tell them what kind of material, what kind of quality I need, so they can bid, right? Then I choose the one of the best. I think the best, depends on the cost and the quality. So I choose one. And next year, you do the same thing? Maybe. Okay, you say, okay, next year I want to make sure I have a good deal. So I call all the companies come in, right? And I also open the bid. Then I choose another one. But if the older one, okay, if the previous one, the company give you a very good quality and a stable resource, you will say, okay, well, it's the same, why change, right? So I will say, okay, I still buy from the older one because I really know the exact qualities. During the past 36 days, 306 days. And the year after, then you will say, okay, why bother, right? So unless you buy from the company, okay? Then what you do is the regular check about their quality. If they satisfy your standard, then you will buy from them. And the rest of company, maybe due to the economic frustrations or the other issues, some of them close, shut down, some of them become bigger, but you still doing the company with business with this company. Okay, so that's the single sourcing is coming. They are not really formed by a Saturday decision, but they are from my history. Okay, after several years, and the new managers come in the company say, well, I want to buy the raw material. Which one I should choose? This one. We have been doing business for them for over 10 years. I said, okay, because you don't have any reason to change that one, as long as they satisfy the quality. So even they have many other choice, but it's really, why bother? Why take another risk? Because if you want to make, doing business with a new company, there's many risks there, right? And this is simply stable, and the price is reasonable, and the quality is reliable. Then, well, keep doing the one, okay? That's one way. That's why people will go to a single source, even there's another choice. Especially the manager, if they don't really, care about some certain parts, they will just do it this way. Okay? So, for example, the governments. Okay, I remember the first few days I can go to went to the new office. I used the pen. I said, well, the pen is not good. It's not handy for me. Okay, I don't like this pen. I said, can I borrow go S1 to buy the new type of pencils I like? I said, no. Okay, we only supply this kind of pen. I said, why? And, well, we have long-term contracts with them and So okay, I said, no, don't bother. Okay, I just go by myself, by my own money. Okay, it's easier. Okay. But you can imagine that. But why they want to do that? Because not only they are used to that, but also because with the long-term relationship, they can cut the price very low. Okay. Very low. Okay, much cheaper. So that's why I'm saying that the traveling company is doing the same thing there. So people maybe they unrealized, aware about the risk. To say, okay, if the single source, the company, what if they going something wrong? Then there will be a huge risk that we have to face in. But well, it's a risk. Okay, a risk, uncertainty. So people have awareness, aware about that until it really happened. Okay, so people say, okay, then wait and see. So so some hidden risk generate there. Okay. So anyway, that's a very I just mentioned that how people, I mean, even they have many choice, some companies still rely on a single sourcing state. And the other way around, okay, the multiple sourcing will be another challenge to the company. Okay. You can imagine that if every year you call all the companies to here and for a meeting, the people who deal with this process will be quite suffer, right? Because every year they have to do the same thing, year by year, and correct the same data. If the data will not, it's always the older one, but they still have to get through all the process. And say, why? Why we have to waste the cost doing this kind of selection process every year and come up with the same company by the head of it, right? So they don't know, well, actually they are trying to reduce another risk, which is that if you are always doing business with a single company, the same company, you don't know what exactly the technique improve or the new information you can get from the other company. So sometimes we are trying to go out, open the door to going out, to see around, to look around, is to understand what's going on, what's the new ideas from the other company. Maybe they have some good materials, where even the materials, the products is not better than the current one, but they have some good idea. So some company strategy will say, okay, I will rely on most of my proportion of the materials from this company, company A, but I will still buy some small portion of products from company B and C. Okay, they have several reasons to do that. One is not only do we reduce the risk, because in their case, they won't reduce much risk. Because most of, say, 80% of the raw materials, they're buying from this big company, this company. So the risk actually is not really reduced. Because if they're going wrong, then most of the product is still having trouble. But the reason doing that one is they want to tell this company A, say, okay, I have the other sourcings, okay? So I can use the other sourcing to put a kind of standard or ceiling for your price. You cannot go into high. Maybe your price is still higher than the other one, but cannot be too high, okay? So it's a benchmark, concept of benchmark there. The other one is the other benefit